Good day, everyone. I am Loren Todiño.
I'm Lency Mae Agbayani.
I'm Daphnie Mae Valdez Salvador.
And we will gonna discuss the type of tests constructed in classroom assessment tools. In this video, we will talk about the different types of classroom assessment tools or the different types of tests constructed, the guidelines in constructing a test, example of a test, and the advantage and disadvantage in each kind of test. But first, what is assessment tools? Assessment tools are techniques used to measure a student's academic abilities, skills, and fluency in a given subject, or to measure one's progress toward academic proficiency in a specific subject area. There are different types of assessing the performance of students. We have objective tests, subjective tests, performance-based assessment, oral questioning, portfolio assessment, self-assessment, and checklist. Each has their own function and use. Type of assessment tool should always be appropriate with the objective of the lesson. There are two general types of test items to use in achievement tests using paper and pencil tests. It is classified as selection type items and supply type items. Selection type items require students to select the correct response from several options. This is also known as the objective test item. Selection type items can be classified as multiple choice, matching type, true or false, or interpretative exercises. And objective test items require only one correct answer in each item. In this section, we shall discuss the different format of objective type items and the general guidelines in constructing the test items, advantage and disadvantage of those kinds of tests. Multiple choice tests. A multiple choice test is used to measure knowledge outcomes and other type of learning outcomes such as comprehension and applications. It is the most commonly used format in measuring students' achievement at different levels of learning. Multiple choice items consist of three parts: the STEM, the KID option, and the incorrect option or the alternatives. The STEM represents the problem or questions usually expressed in completion form or question form. The KID option is the correct answer, and the incorrect option or alternative, also called distractors or foil. These are the general guidelines in constructing multiple choice tests. Here are some examples of multiple choice items. We have the knowledge level. This kind of question is a knowledge level type because the students are required only to recall the properties of the mean, and the correct answer is option A. The second one is the comprehension level. This kind of question is a comprehension level type because the students are required to describe the scores that are normally distributed, and the correct answer is option B. The third type is the application level. This kind of question is an application level type because the students are asked to apply the formula and solve for the variance. The correct answer is option C. And for the fourth, analysis level. This kind of question is an example of analysis level type because the students are required to distinguish which type of test is used. And the correct answer is option B. The advantage of multiple choice tests. It measures learning outcomes from the knowledge to evaluation level. Scoring is highly objective, easy, and reliable. Scores are more reliable than subject type of tests. Measures broad samples of content within a short span of time. Distractors can provide diagnostics information. And item analysis can reveal the difficulty of an item and can discriminate the good and the poor performing students. The disadvantage of multiple choice tests. First is time-consuming to construct a good item, and it is difficult to find effective and plausible distractors. Scores can be influenced by the reading ability of the examiners. In some cases, there is more than one justifiable correct answer. Ineffective in assessing the problem-solving skills of the students, and it is not applicable when assessing the students' ability to organize and express ideas. The second type of selection type items. Matching type items consist of two columns. Column A contains the description and must be placed at the left side, while column B contains the option and must be placed at the right side. The examinees are asked to match the options that are associated with the description. Here are the guidelines in constructing matching type of tests. And this is an example of matching type test. The advantages of matching type tests. It is simple to construct than a multiple choice test. It reduces the effects of guessing compared to multiple choice and true or false type of tests. It is appropriate to assess the association between facts. Provides easy, accurate, efficient, objective, and reliable test scores. And more content can be covered in the given set of tests. The disadvantages of matching type tests. It measures only simple recall or memorization of information. It is difficult to construct due to problem in selecting the description and option. And it assesses only low level of cognitive domains such as knowledge and comprehension. Another format of an objective type of test is the true or false type of test. In this type of test, the examinees determine whether the statement presented is true or false. True or false test items is an example of first choice test because there are only two possible choices in this type of test. The students are required to choose the answer between true or false in recognition to a correct statement or incorrect statement. True or false type of test is appropriate in assessing the behavioral objectives such as identify, select, or recognize. It is also suited to assess the knowledge and comprehension level in cognitive domain. Are the general guidelines in constructing true or false type of test. And this is an example of true or false type of test. Advantages of true or false test. It covers a lot of content in a short span of time. It is easier to prepare compared to multiple choice tests and matching type tests. It is easier to score because it can only be scored objectively compared to a test that depends on the judgment of raters. T is useful when there are two alternatives only. And the scores is more reliable than essay test. The disadvantages of true or false test. It is limited only to low level of thinking skills such as knowledge and comprehension or recognition or recall information. And high probability of guessing the correct answer compared to multiple choice tests.
Supply type of subjective type of test item. Supply type items require the student to create and supply their own answer or perform a certain task to show mastery of knowledge or skills. It is also known as constructed response test. Supply types item or constructed response tests are classified as short answer or completion type and essay types, restricted response and extended response. Subjective test item require the student to organize and present an original answer, essay test, and perform tasks to show the mastery of learning, performance based in assessment and portfolio assessment, or supply a word or phrases to answer a certain questions like completion or short answer type of test. A form of subjective test. Essay test measured complex cognitive skills and process. This type of test has no one specific answer per student. It usually scored on an option basis, although There will be a certain fact and understanding expect in the answer. There are two kinds of essay: extended response essay and restricted response essay. Objective types of tests is another format where the student supplies answered rather than selecting the correct answer. The teacher must present and discuss the criteria used in assessing this answer of the student in advance to help them to prepare from the test. Completion type of short answer test is an alternative form of assessment because the examined needed to supply, create, and appropriate words, symbols, or a number to answer the question or complete the statement rather than selecting the answer from the given options. There are two ways to construct the completion type or short answer type of the test. Question from the completion, the statement form. This is the guidelines in constructing completion type of short answer. This is an example of completion type of short answer. Advantage of the completion or short answer test. The first one is cover a broad range in topic in short span of time. It can easier to prepare and less time consuming compared to the multiple choice and matching type of test. It can access effectively the lower level of Bloom taxonomy. It can access recall of information rather than recognition. It reduces the possibility of guessing the correct answer because it's required recalled compared to the true or false items and multiple choice items. It covers greater amount to content than matching type test. Disadvantage of a completion of the short answer test. It is only appropriate from a question that can be answered with short response. There is a difficulty in scoring when the questions are not prepared properly and clearly. The question should be clearly stated so that the answer of the student is clear. It can access only knowledge, comprehension, and application levels in Bloom taxonomy of cognitive domain. It is not adaptable in measuring complex learning outcomes.
Essay items. It is appropriate when assessing students' ability to organize and present their original ideas. It consists of a few number of questions wherein the examinee is expected to demonstrate the ability to recall factual knowledge, organize his knowledge, and present his knowledge in logical integrated answer. Type of essay items. There are two types of essay items: extended response and restricted response essay. Extended response essay. An essay test that allows the students to determine the length and complexity of response is called extended response essay item. It is very useful in assessing the synthesis and evaluation skills of the students. When the objective is to determine whether the students can organize ideas, integrated and express ideas, evaluate information in knowledge, it is better to use extended response essay test. Using extended response essay items has advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are: demonstrate learning outcomes at the synthesis and evaluation levels. Evaluate the answers with sufficient reliability to provide useful measures of learning. Provide more freedom to give responses to the questions and provide creative integration of ideas. Disadvantages are: more difficult to construct extended response essay questions. Scoring is time-consuming than restricted response essay. These are some examples of extended response essay questions. Restricted response essay. An essay item that places strict limits on both content and the response given by the students is called restricted response essay item. In this type of essay, the content is usually restricted by the scope of the topic to be discussed and the limitation on the form of the response is indicated in the question. When there is a restriction on the form and scope of the answer of the students in an essay test, there can be advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are, it is easier to prepare questions, it is easier to score, and it is more directly related to the specific learning outcomes. The disadvantages are, it provides little opportunity for the student to demonstrate their abilities to organize ideas, to integrate materials, and to develop a new pattern of answers. It measures learning outcomes at comprehension, application, and analysis levels only. These are the guidelines of constructing essay test items. These are some examples of restricted response essay questions.
We should remember that a subjective test is evaluated by giving an opinion. It can be compared with an objective test which has right or wrong answers and so can be marked objectively. Subjective tests are more challenging and expensive to prepare, administer, and evaluate correctly, but they can be more valid.